The Afrobarometer report further revealed that only 2 in 10 Ghanaians endorse the new tax, while 76% of them think the e-levy is a bad idea because it will increase the tax burden on the poor and ordinary citizens. 75% of Ghanaians also expressed doubt that the government will fulfill its pledge to use the revenues generated by the e-levy to fund development programs. Dr. Edem Selome is the Director of Research at the Center of Democratic Development, CDD.
We wanted to see, we haven't shown any of these demographics by region, but with this, we thought it was important to see what the regions look like in terms of who disapproves the e-levy. Again, you see a reflection of that generally, except when you come to the Ashanti region where there's a split as to whether they really disapprove or approve of it. So I am also going to share with you whether people are confident about the use of the e-levy funds. Again, we see that more than half of those we surveyed said that they are not confident at all that money generated from the e-levy will be used well or for what it's intended.
Faced with the e-levy, Ghanaians were about evenly split as to whether they will continue to use electronic financial transactions, with 47% of them stating that they would continue to use the service, while 49% indicated that they would avoid using them.
The thing about taxation is people would either avoid it, and that's not refusing to pay tax, it's a difference. So we wanted to see tax avoidance as well. So we wanted to know who intends to continue using, the channels that would, end up taxing them when they use the channel. Again, we see a split there. The Ghanaians are quite divided in terms of their views or whether they want to avoid e-levy, using channels that would, put the e-levy burden on them or not.
This development reinforces calls by various stakeholders for a downward review of the rate or its complete scrapping, as it failed to attain government's revenue targets and further worsened the country's revenue position. When asked whether they felt the country was heading in the right direction, this is what they had to say.
We see that majority of Ghanaians say that the country is heading in the wrong direction. And they offer very negative assessments of the country's economic condition and their own personal living conditions. You can see from there that it's only 11% of Ghanaians who say the country is going in the right direction. We also see a 15% drop since 2017, and I'll keep this on for a while. So we study it a bit. That is, the only time that we saw that kind of dip was in 2014. Where we conducted the survey, and then it went up beyond the almost 60% in 2019, and has dropped so steeply. 35, and has dropped steeply to 11% just a few years, 3 years.
Some of the panelists at the launch of the report shared their thoughts on the findings.
I believe that this is a wake-up call to government, because when you see that trend, it tells you that confidence in government and government institutions to deliver on the mandate as reposed in them by the Constitution is actually going down, and that is not good enough. And I'm sure if you had done this survey like a week ago, just after the government caved in, I won't say they announced, they caved in by calling on the IMF, I'm sure you would have seen probably a worse response in terms of confidence in managing the economy and all of that.
The supposed economic growth numbers, those big macro numbers that are being bandied about, hides a much bigger picture, which is that inequality is actually worsening in the country. So the benefits or the trade-offs of those growth is actually not necessarily translating to the ordinary man on the street. So in that respect, that is largely, conclusive, or the findings from this survey is largely conclusive with other ones or other research that myself and I, Prof and others have very well been involved in over the period.